Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo, and tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Senator, Pagoda, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some scotch, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 65th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a New World cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. Senator details his history with the cigar. We go even deeper on non-alcoholic beer pairings, and we talk a little football, all among a variety of other things for the next hour. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair Oban Distiller's Edition 2021 with the La Aroma de Cuba, Mi Amor in Robusto. A New World Robusto tonight from La Aroma de Cuba, Mi Amor. It's a 5x50 semi-box pressed, I guess.
Nice looking cigar.
Really nice looking cigar.
Yeah. Light
Senator,
wrapper.
you were saying that you've had these in the past and the wrapper looked a lot different.
The band.
Oh, the band. I thought you were
Yeah.
saying that the wrapper looked different.
No, they very recently, it seems, I think within the last several months, completely changed the bands to this light blue
Yeah.
with a more kind of muted gold. I like the old bands much better. It just looked a lot more refined and bolder.
It must be pretty recent because everywhere I see like retailers, even when I bought this from Atlantic, it still had the old band on the photos. So the retailers haven't even updated them yet.
It had a lot more blue on it.
Yeah, yellow.
There was
a lot of yellow.
A lot more gap. Like, there wasn't a lot of writing on it.
Yeah, it was like a yellow and blue, and then like a
Gold.
kind of bold gold,
Yeah.
not this like muted.
The band is so big that you take 4 puffs and it's going to like touch the band. Right?
It is big. It's like
That's ridiculous.
it's almost half the cigar.
Oh, the other thing I'm noticing, so they made the Mi Amor writing on this. It's now all part of one band. There used to be a separate, smaller, thinner second band that said Mi Amor. So there were 2 bands on the old version.
Actually, Senator,
It looks like there's 2 bands
it's
now.
2 bands.
Oh, it is.
They're just really
They're
tightly
so
put
close.
together.
I see. Okay.
Tight
Yeah, it
seam.
is it is tightly put together.
I'll tell you, it smells very nice on the
Yeah.
wrapper.
I'm interested. I've
actually
heard a lot
does.
about this. I've heard a lot about this brand. I know, Senator, you have an interesting history we could talk about. But first, let's cut this thing, boys. See, we're getting on the cold draw, the wrapper. So I got these a few weeks ago. Like I told you, I had it in my tower and dry boxed them last night.
Do you remember how much they were?
That's a great question, Bam. I actually have it open right here. I think they were very, very reasonably priced. I got a $5 for, I think it was $35,
Really?
$34.
Okay.
Atlantic VIP,
And the cold,
$33.95.
cold draw is nice too.
Yeah.
There's a sweetness on both the cold draw and the wrapper on the nose.
There's like a weird,
Maybe pleasantly surprised with this one.
it almost tastes like on the cold draw. It almost tastes like when you get like a fruity drink in the summer. There's like a weird
In the hazy plastic
yes,
bottles. Yes.
Yes.
I know what you mean.
It's a weird flavor, like summery drink on the cold draw. I don't know why. Maybe a little, almost like a coconutty thing.
The wrapper's immaculate.
It's almost like what's that? Not Almond Joy. What's the Mounds? It's almost like a touch of Mounds, like a little milk chocolate with a little coconut.
Now
type of
you
thing.
feel like a nut.
You and chocolate.
I am a nut. Hey, I love my chocolate.
Sometimes you don't.
Bam commented on the wrapper. One thing that surprised me. So I used to smoke this back when I was in college. I mean, this was like
Your go-to.
under $10,
Mhm.
very affordable, a lot of flavor, and at the time was smooth. I'm curious what these are like now, but I'm surprised even just looking at this. And Bam was the first to comment on it. I mean, the wrapper, invisible seams.
Yeah,
I've
it's
got
really
a wide
nice.
open draw. I've never had construction issues with this cigar.
For that price, it's well made.
Yeah.
Looks like it's well made. I have a question.
Yep.
I never smoked a cigar in college. Other than Senator, has anyone here smoked a cigar in college? I don't think so.
No.
No, I did.
You're the only one.
My first one I did have.
Oh, did
while
you?
I was in,
Oh, okay.
university.
Nice.
All right, boys, let's light this
It's
thing.
a long tenure, boys.
La Aroma de Cuba, Mi Amor, and Robusto. Had a few requests for this cigar.
That could have been a punch from the gas station, so I'm kidding.
Again,
Hey,
again
when
it's
you're young, you're
a
broke.
50 ring gauge by 5-inch Robusto. See how much time we get out of this tonight.
I'm guessing 45 minutes.
Fortunately, I'm a slow smoker, so mine just lasts
You've
long.
changed.
You've changed.
Interesting on the light.
Mild to medium initially. Nice though.
A lot of flavor there.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear the lighter?
Yes. Because you're using like a creme brulee lighter.
Yeah, Jesus
I
Christ.
mean, what are you doing over there?
I love it.
Toasting some brown sugar on a
I've,
nice dessert?
You should.
all my lighters are breaking down. I think I have like 7 lying and none of them
I'll
work.
tell you something.
Dude,
I
I
think that's a theme.
I want to talk about my. That's funny you say that. I know you know that I'm upset, but the
Well, you guys have the wrong DuPonts, but
my
that's
ST
another
DuPont
topic.
is. We'll talk about that in a little while, but
You should never light a Cuban with that torch, dude.
That's all I lighted. But
It'll
please,
inflame the whole fucking cigar.
I like it toasty.
so these come in boxes of 25. The wrapper is Mexican San Andres broadleaf, and the binder and filler are Nicaraguan. Made by the Garcia family, blended by Don Pepin Garcia in Nicaragua. I guess the brand has an interesting story. Long time ago, in a Cuba far away, it was one of Winston Churchill's favorite brands, and then the Pepin family brought it back in
Wow.
the early 2000s out of Nicaragua. Yeah.
I've been smoking this for a while.
Yeah, so
That's
so
pretty cool.
you were telling us that this is one of your kind of pre-Padron go-tos.
This was literally the first cigar that I smoked all the time, and that got me into cigars.
He was 5 years old.
I can only wish that for my son.
Hey.
But when I was in college, there's this great tobacco shop not far from campus, and they had these in stock. I was just really surprised. I mean, I think this is a bit milder than I remember this cigar. I feel like years ago this was on the light fuller in flavor, but I just remember it being really flavorful, being earthy with a bit of cocoa, a little bit of barnyard, but delivering it very smoothly. And I like this little soft box press that it has. And I think this cigar it was kind of the precursor for me to Padron, where once I had a Padron, I said, oh my gosh, look at this box press. Same flavor, similar flavor notes, but on steroids more. So smooth. So this cigar, I think, really shaped kind of my new world palate, what I look for. And I'm interested. I mean, it's been a while since I've had one of these, what this is like now.
So when you first started telling us that story to the end of you telling us that story, I probably drew on the cigar 3 times. And in those 3 draws, it went from like little to medium to tip of your tongue tingly type of full. I'm
It's
expecting
getting-
this
Yeah, it's
to
definitely
really
getting.
pick up as we go through this journey.
I'm also realizing this has to be smoked slowly because it'll hit you, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
It'll hit you in flavor, but I promise you it's not going to kick you around in strength.
Okay.
I mean, I say that as in, I was early in my smoking journey at that point, and I would have these every day. Literally, I'd sit on the porch of my fraternity house, and
Right.
smoke these all the time, and got a bunch of the guys into them. But it's Padron like in that full flavor, but it's not going to kick you around in any
It is
way.
definitely full flavor.
And yeah, it's picking up. This is now what I remember of it. And,
We're only in a quarter inch.
yeah, and I like the combustion on this. I mean, I feel like I can see in the room good smoke output.
Yeah.
And the construction, I think, speaks for itself.
You know, the other thing I like about this story versus some of the other, let's call them Cuban brands that have been ported to New World manufacturers, Cohiba, Partagas, Monte Cristo, of course. All the major Cuban brands now have a New World counterpart made in either Dominican or Nicaragua. What I like about what this family did, or I think it's owned by the Ashtons, actually. I think this is part of the Ashton cigar family. What I like is they chose a brand that doesn't exist anymore in Cuba. This was canceled before the 60s, I think. Well before the revolution, this brand was. So they revived a brand, but they don't create market confusion with the cigar because you can't get a Cuban version of this.
Nope.
And you're talking there are probably hundreds of different marcas that were canceled by Cuba.
Mm.
But, certainly General Cigar and some of those other folks try to take advantage of
Yeah.
the brand names and create a little bit of confusion. But I like that this isn't trying to do that.
Yeah. So the notes you mentioned earlier are pretty accurate. Probably a little less barnyard for me. Cocoa's accurate, but it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I'm getting that. So
Yeah.
a little bit of fruit, if that's accurate.
I get leather.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
Yeah,
leather
there's a
back.
little
Yeah.
leathery.
Coffee, cocoa, all works.
Yeah,
Leather.
definitely cocoa. Yeah.
All these things we actually say about Padrones, right?
Yeah, this
We do
to
say-
me is what I would call, as of right this moment, we're a quarter of an inch in. Where to me this is stock Nicaraguan tobacco.
I think that's very accurate.
It's stock Nicaraguan tobacco.
And you can
But
taste
good
that.
Nicaraguan
It's not
tobacco.
bad. No, when I say
Right.
stock, it's hitting all the flavor notes of
The
what you'd
flavor notes
expect.
and the similarity to
Yes.
Padron. Like to me, this is like the poor man's Padron in that it's like so affordable, but
Mhm.
you get some of the similar flavor notes. Is just how smooth it delivers it.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I started smoking this. That was so early in my cigar journey. At that point, I couldn't light up a Padron 90th. I mean, I'd be on my ass at smoking a cigar like that.
I still kind of am.
Right, exactly. And so it's like the fact that I could smoke this every single day and feel good. I didn't even need to eat a big meal before having this. That's where I give this a lot of credit for that amount of flavor and all these notes we're calling out for a cigar that's under $10. It's smooth. It doesn't kick you around at all.
Yeah. I am getting a minerally finish though that I don't hate, but
Like front of your tongue, minerally.
in the back.
Back, okay.
I am too, but I'm
Yeah.
getting a saltiness.
It's salty and a little minerally, metallic a bit. Not
Yeah.
loving that.
Oh yeah,
No,
I'm feeling that.
It's not bad.
Yeah. What's
bad.
amazing to me is that this is like a
$7.
$7 cigar.
Yeah.
No draw issues.
None.
Perfect construction.
Perfect construction. Well, if you're having a Cuban cigar, like maybe 2, 3, 4 times as much,
Oh yeah.
in the back of my mind, I'm like, I hope this cigar draws well.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're almost doing.
And you
you're-
almost never have to worry about with the New World stick
It's
that
true.
99% it's gonna perform well.
Except for
It's
the
not gonna be an issue.
Millennium Toro.
This that's a great point, Rooster. I mean, you think about for $7. I mean, this is a real value stick. Even if it performs, if it ends up, who knows what the rating's going to end up. But even if it's not a great rating for $7, I mean, this is a great value as of right now.
Yeah. Velvety
No
smoke.
question about it.
I'm just amazed all these years later. It's so fun when you think of cigars you've had so long ago, back when you knew not a whole lot about cigars. I'm just amazed as I'm smoking this. I have not, I don't have any major complaints about this cigar. I'm not smoking this saying it's too mild, it's too harsh,
No.
it's too this. There are things that even now, as my palate's gotten a lot more refined than it certainly was then, there are still things I enjoy about this cigar.
Yeah. And I will say, I'm not sure what the band looked like, but this is a beautifully designed band, I think.
It still is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
nice.
definitely it's ornate.
It's unique. It's eye-catching.
It's classic,
Yep. Very ornate.
classic old Cuban type of band.
Look at you with the design vocab.
Mm.
My man.
What did I say that was?
Ornate.
Oh, ornate.
It's a fancy word for Gizmo.
For Gizmo.
I'm enjoying smoking this slowly, which I'm surprised to say.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I heard you guys saying you think this is going to go in 45 minutes. This cigar can easily last an hour.
Yeah, and I'm feeling like when I take
I
less
could-
draws,
I
I
could
feel
see
like I'm
that.
enjoying it more. I'm enjoying it more.
Yeah, the San Andres wrapper typically has those qualities, right? It's like cocoa, a bit of earthiness, and
Yeah, you always
That's
get
right.
sweet
What,
notes.
so
from
what
the
other
San
cigars have
Andres.
we done that had the San Andres wrapper?
Some of the Tattoo Eyes have that.
Oliva
That's
V.
true.
Oliva, okay.
Is that right?
Does the El Senador, or is that a Nicaraguan Puro?
That's a good question.
From EP Carrillo. I have, for some reason, I'm feeling like that may have a Mexican wrapper on it, but
I got to tell you, I revisited that cigar
yeah,
last
I
night.
wanted to ask, how does it compare to this?
It's much better than this.
Okay.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
It's funny, I have a box at home. I haven't opened it in a while. I should pull one out.
Yeah, good memory, Giz. Mexican San Andreas
Oh.
wrapper.
Look
on
at
the
that,
El
boys.
Senador.
Look at you.
Come on.
But it's good that you call this out. I mean, honestly, I didn't piece all this together. It's clear we like a Mexican San Andreas wrapper.
With
Yeah.
with Nicaraguan filler.
Filler,
around it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
all the flavors are somewhat similar to Padron. So
They are.
Padron-esque, yeah.
Oh yeah.
To me, this is definitely something. If you're wanting to reach for a cigar, Padron, you don't want to spend $15. You don't know if you're going to have the time for a Padron. I mean, this is perfect in that situation.
Yeah, it's not quite as smooth and balanced like a Padron,
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
but it has similar notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think in Padron you get a little bit more of a cocoa blast, or you
Coffee,
get
yeah.
that's more.
I think a little more
enhanced.
concentrated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
flavors.
Padron is just more refined than this
Yeah,
is.
this is a little
100%.
little
and of
harsh.
course, of course, Padron, you're getting a 4-year age stick
Right.
Yeah.
out of the box. I don't know what they don't have an age statement on this, but this doesn't. It's not performing like you're not getting that mustiness of a bit of aged tobacco.
Yeah.
That you get out of an aged Nicaraguan.
The ash is beautiful.
Yeah, perfect
That's one
burn line.
thing. These
I know you
have
hate this, but we're
always
smacking
burned like
dimes
this.
here.
Yeah,
Stacking dimes on our sticks.
I would be curious, like buying boxes of cigars like this, and letting them sit for like 5 years, 7 years.
Wow.
Like you do that with Cuban cigars, but this cigar,
Yeah.
it'll be a whole like totally
Remember,
different cigar.
Don't
It
forget
helps.
what he did with the 80th Padrones.
Yeah,
So I will say this: I did
but
that.
that's already a great cigar.
Oh, sure.
Right.
So this has some
The
little bit
enhancement,
of
though.
Yeah, can it
little
go
bit
from
of-
good to great? Is
It
the
did.
question.
The
And
answer
that
is
did.
the answer is it does. So I did
Mm.
this inadvertently with this exact stick. I found in my tower, I had a box that I had just random loose sticks from years ago that I just must have stuffed into a box that I didn't smoke all that often anymore. And I found 2 Aroma de Cuba Mi Amors. This is like maybe 2 years ago. I had sent you guys a photo one of these nights, but this is going back a couple years. And I smoked them at my house, and I was very surprised. The flavor was more concentrated. So I think we were talking about how this is not as concentrated as a Padron, which has the 4 years at least of age. Very smooth. I think any rough edges got smoothed out. So I think this does definitely benefit from age. But I mean, the fact that Giz just ordered these,
Yeah.
for $7, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, and clearly this is new stock. This is not new
Right.
old stock, because just based on the change of the bands alone,
Yep.
you know that this is a newer production of these cigars.
Can everyone just go
Oh, the-
like
the
go
aroma.
like this?
the aroma.
It's
Are
often,
you saying the aroma de
Aroma de
la
Cuba.
aroma?
you're killing
De
killing
Cuba. My love,
you're
Bam
clipping my
Bam?
wings.
Bam Bam Mi Amor.
Did you say Cuba or did you say Puba?
Puba's MIA. No, isn't it delicious?
It's actually
It's really nice at the burn line. Yeah,
It's
really
heavenly.
nice.
And you're gonna laugh, but I am getting just a tiny bit of citrus.
there it
Oh,
is.
Tiny bit.
Hey, giving the people what they
I'm
want.
not joking. This is really unique smoke.
I'm going to say, now that he said that, at the burn line, I don't get it when you draw, but if you really just hold this and just smell at the burn line,
Just keep it there.
you actually get a little
You
citrus.
get like that acidic tickle in your nose, like when you're.
There is
like
not
from
a single cigar
orange
that
peel.
Bam smokes that he doesn't get citrus notes out of.
absolutely untrue.
and fundy notes. And fundy notes. I'm finding, we talk about this sometimes. It happens with cigars. It doesn't, but sometimes it doesn't. But I'm finding that I'm kind of getting that relaxed. It's starting to check the boxes for me, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like I'm feeling I'm sitting lower in my chair.
it's settling in the cigar.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said the relaxed piece, because this also, not just as a daily driver, but anytime in college there was a football game and we won, this was like the victory smoke that I would light up with my friends. And you never had to worry about the draw, the burn. I'm amazed all these years later. I mean, it's still, if you look at everyone's stick, it's razor
But look
sharp,
at that, dude.
white ash.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It is.
Now, speaking of football and cigars,
Joey B.
what did he smoke? Do we
Some
know?
kind of Cohiba. I mean, to me, it's one of 3 options.
Looked like
It was a
Cohiba.
talisman.
Talisman.
Is that right?
I think the box gave it away. And there were additional photos.
There was another photo from a different angle, and it's a talisman.
Did you see
So
the
is
little
that-
band underneath?
Is that an LCDH
That's
or no?
what I
No,
thought.
It's not.
it's-
So that's
oh.
the secondary band is not an LCD. It's
an
an
EL.
EL.
It's an
Yeah,
EL.
I see.
Oh,
Some folks were saying that it could have been the new release Novadosos, but
Yeah.
they haven't been released yet. So if you see
You're
a
right.
Novadosos right now,
so it's interesting when
I
he won
believe it's
the
fake.
National College Football Championship. What did he smoke? Like a $4 cigar?
Something really shitty.
And
Yeah,
now
I
he's
don't
got
think
like
it was great.
$110 cigar in his mouth now, isn't it? At least.
Even last year when he won the AFC championship, the division, whatever he smoked was something awful.
Hmm.
So he's been on the gizmo journey.
Yeah,
He-
maybe
he,
he's-
he grew very quick.
I think
He listens to our pod.
I was about to say he must have heard a lizard.
Joey, like me, is a Cohiba slut now. I'm full on. But that's for a Cuban podcast down the road. Yeah, this is really delicious, man.
Yep.
For $7, I mean, you have to. We argue about that sometimes. You got to factor that in my opinion. You have to.
But for a cigar that's cheap, that improves as you smoke it, that's unusual.
Yeah.
It's getting better.
Are you getting the aroma of Cuba?
In fact, I'm not.
No.
He's getting the aroma of citrus.
La aroma de citrus.
Sí, señor.
Mi amor, my love.
Rooster's ready to go to Cuba.
I'm ready.
Oh boy.
All right, boys, let's talk about our pairing tonight.
Yes.
So this is a unique Oban. What is it? Distiller or something? Distillers
edition.
edition. It was bottled.
It was distilled in 07,
Yep.
2007, and bottled in 2021.
So it's a 14-year aged single malt Scotch.
Hmm.
And I've never had this.
No.
I'm going to try it right now. Do we know anything about it?
The only thing I've tried to figure out, I feel like every time I'm in an airport, at a duty free, especially in Europe, I'll see these distillers editions from a number of like the big brands that we drink a lot of Scotch from. And I never know what that means. I assume it's some airport bullshit marketing gimmick, but apparently, at least what I've discovered, there are 7 distilleries that participate every year in putting out a distillers edition release. And they're big names, stuff we drink. It's Talisker, Oban, Lagavulin, Glenkinchie, which I've never had, Cragganmore, Cowila, a grinder favorite, and Cragganmore.
Hmm.
So for me, it gives it some more legitimacy that it seems like this is something coordinated that
Sure.
7 of the distilleries do. It's not just like,
Yeah.
here's our airport edition for you to buy. That's not going to be that great.
I would like to know how much this bottle was, because that's going to have a skew for my rating.
I don't know. I thought I paid very little for this.
Can we find out online?
Online, I think the price is scary.
How
I
much?
don't think it's scary.
Let's hear it.
How much?
180.
No, not that, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I honestly thought I paid like 40s or 50s for it.
That's all?
Yeah, and
Impossible.
No way.
but for some reason it's like $120 or something.
Well, no.
120.
Keep in mind, Pagoda, you bought this years ago, right?
About a year and a half ago.
Okay, let's think about how
Or maybe a
how
year
Scotch
ago.
prices have all gone up. So you probably got it maybe under 100. Now it's over 100.
Yeah, possible.
Okay.
I just
Because
don't
even
remember.
their 14-year went up, right? You used to be able to get that for $70, $80. Now it's going for $90 a
Yeah.
bottle. So to me, it kind of makes sense that if that's 90 now a bottle, that this would be 115, somewhere a little higher.
It's very delicious. I don't know if I'd say it's worth a penny more than normal Oban 14.
It's very flavorful.
I
but
mean, it's
but I think
delicious, but to me, it's the same.
it doesn't feel very. It feels very light-bodied.
Mm.
Well, that's the thing. I feel it's lighter than Oban 14, which is not what I was expecting. For some reason, just this whole, it was distilled in this year, bottled in this year, and there's a significant time period, it seems, from when it was distilled. And we were looking at it even in the bottle before we hit record, and it just looked like it was going to be a robust, rich, flavorful. And I feel like this is definitely lighter than Oban 14.
No, it looked beautiful because I think the color is a little darker, and
I will.
I like the bottle. The bottle's great.
It's tasty, I will say, but
It's nice.
every sip, honestly, I do get a bit of a bite in the middle of the tongue.
I'll be honest, though.
There's bite there.
If I was sipping this at home, I think I'd like that. Maybe I'd want something smoother. But with the cigar, I always go for something. I like something that has a little bit more of an edge to it with a cigar.
So for me,
I've always trended that way.
Yeah.
Even on the podcast.
Understandable. But the bite, I mean, it's not a tremendous bite, but what that glass does have, I'd want a bit of a stronger cigar.
Mm.
Just a bit. Like a Padron Exclusiva would be great with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think to Bam's point, Oban 14, which we've reviewed.
I don't think we did review that, by the way.
Oh,
We
really?
did
We
not.
didn't
What's
give it a
funny,
score.
I'm sitting over here
We
thinking
drank
I'm
it.
losing my mind. I don't even think we drank it on the pod because
Oh, we did. but we
No,
never
we
rated
did.
it.
We did.
I'm looking at the
This
list.
is early
We
on.
did.
It must
'Cause
have been
we
episode
told-
1.
May have been.
I mean, it's
Because-
one of the early ones.
Very early.
I don't know when we did it, but the only rating that I have is the Oban Little Bay.
We did because we told the story of Bam and I putting down an entire bottle between the two of us
I
at
remember
my
that.
lounge.
Within
It was-
45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why I was going to bring that up because that is so flavorful but so
Smooth.
smooth. That's how. I mean, we didn't even realize how much of that we were consuming because it was just going down
just-
so
You
easy.
pounding
can't.
it.
You can't
This,
do that
you
with this.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you sip this a bit slow and just leave it in your, in your mouth and let it, it's pretty flavorful, I must say.
And I think it's dancing perfectly with this cigar.
With
right
the cigar, I'm enjoying it with the cigar.
I think it works.
It's a nice match. And again, for someone, you have a nice bottle of scotch at home, whatever it may be, you pull out a $7 cigar, you can have a phenomenal experience. You don't need to, you don't need to buy a really expensive cigar or something
Right.
to pair with, it doesn't need to be crazy. And we had a listener, somebody gave us a rating on iTunes that they love the podcast. It's a 5, but we don't do enough
What?
cheap yard cigars. So they gave us a 3. Remember that?
Oh, brother.
Well, this is just for them.
yeah.
And this is something where it's like we're not even doing it intentionally. We just have a list of stuff that's been recommended to us that we want to try. We're on a streak
Well,
of cheap
yeah,
cigars right
you
now.
should-
100%. I mean, we were just talking about the El Senador we love so
What
much.
about the
That's
Padron
also
2000?
a $7-8 cigar.
Dude. And
How about the My Father Lancero we
Yeah.
just did?
Yeah.
And the Padron 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done a bunch. We did the Tatuaje Cazadores.
That's right. Oh, that's an awesome little
We
guy.
did that. We did the short story.
Yeah.
Did a whole bunch.
We've done a lot of them. But this is perfectly in line with that. Like this really works for someone who wants a medium full to full experience for under $10.
And I've recommended this countless times to newer smokers who are looking for something with flavor, but that's not going to kick them around. And I've yet to have someone come to me and say, "Oh, that was just too aggressive for me." Most like it, and I mean, it was for me, and I think it is for others. It's like a gateway to
It's a
Padron
great-
and some of the others.
It's a great informal description of this cigar.
Yeah.
Full flavored, but not going to kick you around. It's perfect.
The other thing I want to say too is, we talk often like if you're in another city, you're traveling or something, you go into a humidor, they may not have Padron or Davidoff because the requirements to get those brands in a B&M are through the roof. This is a brand that I would expect to see in almost every B&M because it's
It's almost
so accessible.
It's good to have a plan B and C
Yeah.
when you're looking for cigars, especially when you travel.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah, because even EP Carrillo, that's kind of a boutique-ier brand, I think. Maybe now after being Cigar
That's
of the
the
Year,
thing. I think now they're
they're
getting
all
more-
over the
lot more
place, but
mainstream.
this is certainly something kind of like the My Father or the Oliva V that we had success with.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cigar you're going to see in
A lot.
90% of humidors.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I mean, who's not going to have that?
Yeah, and this cigar was rated pretty high by CA.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
number
I think
2.
2009 it was a number 2,
This?
and then 2016,
Wow.
2016 again they rated it. I think it was a number 9.
That's amazing.
So it's made it in the top 25 a couple of times.
It's gotten in the top 25. It was in the top 25 in 11, 19, and 2016. It got a 95 rating in January 2012. And that same year, it was the number 2 cigar of the year.
Wow.
I thought it was 2009.
Mm-mm.
And I think it was manufactured in 2009. Not manufactured, whatever it is.
What, released?
Released.
Yeah, 2012, it was the number 2 cigar of the year.
Yeah, I'll say. I mean, it may or may not sound crazy, but
2011.
having had this before that and during that time period, it was even better than this is. Not to take anything away from this, I'm pleasantly surprised. This is still a good smoke for the price point. But I think the flavors then were a bit more concentrated. So you'd be shocked. I think it was deserving of a 90 something. I'm not sure it needed how high did you say?
95.
I'm not sure it's a 95-point cigar, but
90?
then it was a 90, at most 92, which is a great score.
Yeah.
How much were you paying then? Was it 7? Around
At a B&M that was honestly overpriced outside of campus when I was in college, I was paying $9-10, but you could buy them when I would buy them elsewhere. I can get them for, I mean, amazingly what you're paying now, like
Really?
yeah, like
Wow.
$7.
That's crazy.
I'm just
It's
saying,
crazy. All this time, it's still basically the same.
No increase.
talk about deflation. Yeah, considering all the prices of cigars are just shooting through the roof.
Yeah, to still be able to get
Yeah.
a cigar that we have this experience right now for under $10. I mean,
It's
I mean,
awesome.
that's shocking to me.
Yeah.
And we've, like I just said, we just did this. My father was under $10. That Lancero we loved.
That was stellar.
I bought a box of that as soon as we walked out of the podcast.
Actually,
I bought 4.
Yes,
we
you
all
did.
bought them.
I think everyone sitting here got
Yeah.
a box.
Yep.
That's right.
'Cause I got 1, you got 4, I think, for the rest of the guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Rooster already had one.
It
Crazy.
is an easy smoke.
Mm.
Very easy smoke.
It's a beautiful cigar.
Yeah.
Well rolled. Yeah. I love cigars with pigtails for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
Rooster
what it
always
is.
comments on that.
They're
I'd be like, I tried this great
unique.
cigar. It's got a pigtail.
yeah, it's fancy.
You know why? Because the pigtail, you don't need a cutter.
Yeah,
you can just
peel it
kind of
off.
Pinch it.
twist, pinch it off, and
You know which other
awesome.
cigar has a pigtail?
no.
Papa's Fritas.
Oh,
Yeah,
It
that's
does.
that's so good. That's
I thought he was going to tell a dad joke.
another
I
another great cheap backyard cigar, which is
Papa's
fantastic.
Fritas.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that's
but
got a lot of flavor.
truly
That's like
delicious.
$4
though.
or
Yeah.
$5.
Truly
Yeah.
delicious.
So we were talking about lighters before. I got to vent some frustration here.
Yeah.
So we all have these really nice ST DuPont lighters. I don't know. What are they now? $215?
Some have the smarter ones, but
I think Senator and I have the same exact lighter. What is it called? The Defy Extreme?
Defy Extreme, yeah.
The Defy Extreme or something? My lighter, out of nowhere, it sits in my soda load. That's all. It lives there. It doesn't come out, except for when I'm smoking. I don't drop it. I don't throw it. And all of a sudden, it just stops lighting, right? Fine. So it's broken. I have emailed them twice. I have Facebook messaged them. No replies at all.
Mm.
Like the service is very disappointing.
yeah, and you bought it online.
Yeah, I bought it from
From-
Atlantic.
Ah, okay.
Even they're not expecting the lighter to break down. Come on.
I mean, it's over a
Yeah.
year, so I can't really. I'm not going to go to Atlantic and expect them to help me. But
Right.
ST DuPont certainly should, even if I have to pay for it.
It's
Just like
Yeah, I
not-
mean, the bottom line, this
Fix
is a
the
company
lighter.
that sells lighters that start at like $200.
Yeah,
This
these
is
are-
like a luxury
It truly
cigar
is.
accessory
It is.
company. There's no reason that you shouldn't get a response.
Agreed.
None.
So I wonder if you call Atlantic and tell them, like, can you guys send this out for service?
Yeah.
yeah, maybe I will do that.
Yeah, Atlantic, I mean, their customer service is amazing. I'm sure they'd at least be able to point you
That's
in
a
the right
good idea.
direction.
Yeah, maybe I will try that. Very frustrated. I'm borrowing one of Rooster's lighters. I'm using my Amazon lighters.
What about the double flame?
I have
soft
that. I've been using it.
Yeah.
The only problem with that Amazon lighter, as I said, is it just doesn't have a big tank.
Ah.
So you kind of, if you're sitting in a lounge, you have a couple cigars, like you burn through the gas in that kind of one sitting,
Yep.
So
And you can always borrow this one.
Yeah. The fireplace.
I'm going to borrow that when I'm making dessert for
the
everyone.
blowtorch.
It's a Rocky Patel, just FYI.
I'm surprised you brought that in this
Oh my
room.
God, he's not joking.
He's not joking.
It really says that.
This is really good, guys.
I'm beyond the halfway point. And
Yeah, you're
it's-
blowing through it. Why?
You're really
You know
going through
why?
this.
It's just getting really good, and I'm liking it. It's ridiculous, but it's improving. It's just getting better and better. It's tasty for me. It's very smooth. Maybe in the first half inch, I had a tad of a bite, and then that minerally thing but not anymore. It's really, really good.
It's a
Oh.
good smoke.
I got to slow down.
Yes, patience, my boy.
Yes, sir.
Patience.
Yes, sir.
So I'm actually enjoying this non-alcoholic Stella given to me by Senator,
It
By,
looks
by the way,
good.
Senator,
which I've never had before. I mean, this is delicious.
can I ask a question? We're rocking the Oban, and I see you have a side cart of non-alcoholic beer,
Estrella de Galicia.
which is fine.
Which I got from Rooster, actually.
I think it's adorable that you guys did a little,
They're
you know,
bonding.
Yeah, we got a little thing going here.
little swap.
It's invite only.
Little, you got a little non-alcoholic beer swap.
Soiree going.
So
over there.
what is going on here that we're
So
doing a little sidecar with
it's,
a
it's
non-alcoholic?
It's a month of January. A lot of people do dry January. Normally, I attempt to do this full scale, like no alcohol in the month of January, which is how it is designed, and I fail every single time.
Well, we
I
also
think
have
we've
to-
even joked about this probably last January, or earlier last year, where I'll last like maybe a week without drinking, and then next thing you know, it's the complete opposite. So this time, I've gotten more realistic, and I've said I'm going to need something to supplement when I actually want a beer or something to drink. So, Rooster, and I feel bad now because I've tried these. These are actually, some of these are very good. I've kind of, I've always been skeptical. Rooster has these non-alcoholic beers. I'm like, how close to the real thing can they be? Now, to his credit, I remember when he had us try Guinness Zero, it's truly indistinguishable.
Delicious.
Like if you blind
It's
put
awesome.
those next to us, Guinness with alcohol and Guinness Zero, I would bet anything that most of us can't pick out which is which. So I've just started experimenting. I went to a local liquor store, just bought a whole bunch of stuff. Athletic Brewing Company has a whole bunch of different kinds. Some IPAs that honestly, I think some are really hard to figure out that they're non-alcoholic.
Wow.
I found some non-alcoholic Stella. I like Stella. Rooster just gave me this Estrella Galicia, which is actually very good. It's very creamy. Bex, I think he had you guys review on the pod.
We did that on the pod when you were out.
And I've tried that. That's great. So there's a lot of merit, I think, to Rooster's enjoyment of non-alcoholic beer, and it's helped me not make January completely dry, but not make January as wet as it usually is. So it's been good.
I mean, there's some companies that are only making non-alcoholic beers.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
they do.
I'd like to try it sitting at my desk working. I haven't done that yet because, I don't want to drink and work, but
Right.
this is a great alternative.
The other thing I just want to say real quick, a lot of guys also, when they're doing this whole dry January, this is perfect because I feel like last January we probably had this conversation with Giz. I was going to say a lot of guys try to also eat healthy after the new year. I think we had the whole eat clean bro conversation.
That started later.
Okay, later. But a lot of guys in January, because we even have someone at our clubhouse 1086 where we record who was just telling me, in January I started Eat Clean Bro and they're trying to, cut calories, all that stuff. I couldn't believe some of these non-alcoholic beers. I picked up this Athletic Brewing Company IPA without even knowing. I just happened to look on the can. There's
Very low.
45
Yeah.
calories in the
Wow.
whole thing.
That is awesome.
That's pretty damn good.
Very good.
It's like a light beer.
It's less than a light
Yeah,
beer.
less.
A light
Less than
beer
light.
is usually
Yeah,
just under
around
100
100,
calories.
It's an IPA.
It's an IPA.
I got to try that.
It's unbelievable.
That's
so
my
it's
beer.
like
Whole bunch
Love
of
IPAs.
IPAs
any
out there.
IPA is going to range from bare minimum 160, really. I can't even say
Yeah.
150 to 250 calories.
Yep.
45 calories in a can. I mean, it's
Wow,
crazy. So
That's cool.
even for guys who are just trying to like cut calories, drop a little weight after the new year, I think some of these non-alcoholic beers are great ways to be able to still enjoy some of the flavor that you like and that taste without all the calories.
And we had that discussion when we did the non-alcoholic brews. Like, to me, I bought some of the Guinness non-alcoholic. I bought a 4-pack, and I just have it in my fridge. So like Bam said, when I'm having a lunch or something, and I just want to have a beer, if I have some grilled chicken or something, and I just want to have a beer, but I don't want to have a beer,
Yeah.
I grab one of those Guinness. It's like you don't even know the difference. It tastes exactly the same.
Honestly, if you're at
It's crisp and refreshing. It's great.
awesome. If you're at the computer, I'm going to do that tomorrow. I have a
I'm,
lot of-
I'm,
a
I'm
lot
sorry,
of
I
desk
can't
work.
contribute to this conversation.
So here's my question for you, Senator. Are you going to continue this ongoing?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I actually think I am because there are a lot of times where I'm craving a drink or even several drinks. And I've got an early morning or something, and I just don't want to wake up and feel shitty.
Mhm.
Especially with the baby.
Especially with the baby. The baby's getting up earlier now. It's just so nice to be able to enjoy the same flavor. It kind of, just because your mind is programmed, as soon as you have that flavor, it's like puts me in relaxation mode, and then I feel wonderful in the morning. So for me, there's going to be utility in this year round.
Yeah.
So what other months like January, dry January? There's Movember, right?
Oh, what's that?
What's
It's like
November?
don't shave or something.
Oh, the mustache.
No,
Mustache.
no shave November.
No
Got it.
shave. Is there any other months that people do stuff? That's
Not
weird.
that I know of.
I feel like, to me, like what Senator just said, I feel like the flavor and quality of the non-alcoholic brews that are coming out is kind of opening the floodgates a little bit, where guys aren't feeling that they're sacrificing by going to a non-alcoholic beer, which I think in the past, I certainly would have felt that was the case.
Yeah.
But given what we've tasted and even what I haven't, you guys have had, it seems like flavor is kind of there's parity there.
Yeah, not an issue.
And you're not waking up groggy. You're not going through your day, tuned up, going back to work after a work lunch or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's great.
And I think we've had listeners write us asking about non-alcoholic pairings, and we've usually taken that down the route of coffee and whatever else we like to pair, seltzer, obviously Gizmo.
Yeah, I drink a lot.
But I think, there's non-alcoholic beer that's actually perfect for a lot of those listeners that, either don't drink or
Mhm.
are looking to cut down on drinking, or whatever the case may be, that honestly are really, really satisfying.
Yeah, especially in the midday.
I mean, I said to my wife when I started drinking some of this stuff, without this, I always joked, if men had to get pregnant, like the no drinking for 9 months, I would not survive. It just
The human
it
race
would
would have been eliminated.
eliminated, just done. But now with these non-alcoholic beers, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'd have a fighting chance of surviving now. Like the experience is so satisfying. You don't miss alcohol in the same way that you did when O'Doul's was the only option you had.
Exactly.
I'm not going to
Yeah,
drink
that wasn't not too long ago.
right.
Yeah.
I think our banker listeners may have tuned out. They're used to that liquid lunch.
Yes. Well, like I like a liquid lunch in that I like when I have a salad with some salmon on it or something. I like to have a beer because I just like the flavor of the bubbly, crisp, cold drink. But then I go back to my go back to the office, go back to my desk, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't have had the beer. Not as sharp as I was,
You're a lightweight.
But it's like
Says the banker. In the
I
room.
know, I know. But it like opens it up. I think that you're not making any sacrifices in it. I think it serves a lot more people than
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
even they originally intended.
Absolutely.
I also like it even when I am drinking. Sometimes I've found when it's toward the end of the night and for some reason I want another drink, but I know I shouldn't have another drink and that I'm going to regret it in the morning. I'll just pull one of these out and it's like I'm getting the same sensation, but I'm kind of hydrating. And then I wake up in the morning, I feel great. It's even a good closer sometimes.
So very often, I have that last drink that I regret having.
Yep.
I do that way too often. So that's a great move.
And it's also, social, like a social event. Everybody's drinking something.
Mm-hmm.
And you're actually having a beer
Right.
that's non-alcoholic. It looks the same.
You don't
in a
feel
glass.
left out. Yeah.
You don't feel left
Yeah,
out.
it's brewed
right?
the same.
Yeah. It's
That's
brewed
cool.
the same.
Cool.
It's also priced the same.
Yeah, I was surprised about that.
Oh yeah,
I was
Senator,
explaining
Yeah.
Senator came in.
It's got to be less expensive.
I was like, this is crazy. I'm buying a 6-pack of a non-alcoholic Stella, and I'm like, $10.99. That's the same price as the fucking alcoholic version.
the
Like,
hell?
there should be some discount here. I'm not getting the same
I
buzz.
know.
You're paying for research and development,
Yeah, R&D.
R&D.
It costs more to take the alcohol out. than to-
Is Athletic the one that makes only non-alcoholic beers?
I believe
I
so.
think so.
I think that's
yeah.
the case, right?
Yeah, they're
They
pretty
do a
big.
really nice. I mean, I'm telling you, some of these IPAs, I was shocked.
I want to try the IPAs.
Me too.
That's where I'm going to go.
Me too.
We could do that on the next pod.
Yeah, we should.
Let's
Grab
do
some
that.
IPAs.
Let's
Yeah.
do that. I don't know if maybe we save that for a New World. I don't know if we'll do it with a New World, but I definitely want to do that. Get some Athletic IPAs. Very cool. All right, boys, we're about halfway through the cigar here. Bam Bam's a little further
Just
than
a
us.
little bit.
I'm finding this to be improving as we go through this,
Agreed.
which, as we've talked about 1,000 times, that is not how most New Worlds trend
At this price.
at this price.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, at any price with New Worlds, we've had some pricier New Worlds that have gotten worse as
This
we've
is
smoked
true.
them. It really can happen.
But the
anywhere.
ones we love, for me, improve. Like the Exclusivo, the 80th,
Oh, totally.
the
Yeah,
Pyramid
of
Millennium.
course.
Yeah.
But those are premium.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
so
what
leaving,
$5
leaving
cigars.
So
Padron
for
aside.
this price, like the El Senador, I mean, that one just got better and better as you smoked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great smoke.
Yeah, nice.
Well, this is good. This tells you that even at a young age, my palate wasn't too shabby.
Well, wait for the rating.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the second half.
So, how many cigars were you smoking at that time? Just
At least like one a day.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it-
a
like
lot
through
for a
college.
college kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah.
and you were.
Well, you know
what,
him. He's
20?
sitting there in a smoke-filled room,
Yeah.
just barking orders at pledges,
Stacks of textbooks all over the place.
just telling the pledges what to do.
Clear the
Go
smoke.
get my car.
Clear the smoke.
I mean, I would say the first few years of college, it was like, a couple a week maybe. But my senior year of college, there was nothing better. I'd go to class, and every day I was done with class, I'd get back to the fraternity house, sit on the porch with a cigar. And the funny thing is, none of the guys that lived in the house smoked cigars. I was the only one at first. And all the guys were, what are you smoking? Why do you always come out here and have that? And they were so curious. So I would hand one out, and it was always the Aroma de Cuba Mi Amor. And so many of these guys tried it. loved it. And it just became like a ritual. Like everyone just wanted to light one of these up and just kind of unwind at the end of the day.
That
very
becomes
cool.
the cool frat on campus.
Oh yeah.
You better
No, but
believe it.
what drew you to cigars?
Oh, my
The
dad.
first time.
My dad is
dad.
definitely where it started.
Awesome.
My dad always smoked cigars. I certainly couldn't appreciate it when I was younger. I was kind of confused as to why this was so, intriguing to him. And then as I got older, and particularly in college, I started to try myself, started to appreciate some of the flavor notes that you get and just being able to really unwind after a long day. And then it just accelerated when an early boss of mine who was born and raised in Cuba fled with his family as a child, has built an incredibly successful career for himself in the States, has a vast collection. I mean, he's a lizard. He's got the kind of
Nice.
stuff we do, and
Senior lizard.
that
Probably.
just took my appreciation for cigars to a whole other level. That's where I
And
started.
you said that
smoking
was like Mad
Cubans.
Men days, right? In the
That
office?
was. We would smoke in the office together. In
That's
the
my
office.
dream.
I know.
Yep.
That's my dream. That's
Well,
what I want.
You mean when you go to your corporate office?
I said it's a dream, Bam.
Okay.
For me, it was I had picked up a magazine, the Cigar Aficionado magazine, just on I saw it somewhere at a newsstand, picked it up,
hmm
started reading articles about it. I'm like, I got to try a cigar.
Wow.
Just went to a store, and I remember my first cigar being the short story, the Arturo Fuente
Wow.
short story, and I was hooked.
Nice.
That was it. And
Yeah.
that was 1995, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild because most of the time stories you hear of people's first cigar, it's, this was given to me or from my dad or from a friend or,
Yeah, my
Rooster
dad never
just saw-
smoked. Yeah.
Rooster just saw it in a magazine
Yeah.
and said, I want to try this. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
You're a maverick.
I don't know about that.
My brother-in-law gave me my first cigar. I think we talked
Yeah,
about
we did talk
his
about that.
experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that, but tell it again in case the listener hasn't heard it.
So he handed me a Millennium Pyramid. That was his cigar.
Davidoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 16, almost 17 years ago. And, my son was coming. So I bought a box of those and handed them out. And that was my cigar. Yeah.
So it was just right when your son was born. That was when you.
That's when I started smoking cigars
Awesome.
consistently. And I haven't stopped since.
So the Millenniums, I think they came out, I want to say maybe around 98, 97, 98,
He was born in
Something like
06.
that?
Yeah.
06.
Yeah.
Now Millenniums came out way before that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have one back then.
No, I'm just trying to think because Jill actually had gotten me like
Mrs. Rooster.
Mrs. Rooster. She got me a 5-pack of, I think it was like,
I remember
maybe-
this story.
Yeah, yeah. So she got me the Millennium. We were on our anniversary at the Mohawk Mountain House.
Very cool.
And she gave me those cigars, and I was like blown away. I'm like, this is the most flavorful Davidoff that I've ever had. Like really full Davidoff. Like I
Mhm.
used to smoke a lot of Grand Crus, and they were great. It was a great cigar. I enjoyed them. But the Millennium truly, I think, put for me like Davidoff on the map
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a full flavor Davidoff, which was
And
kinda-
what's crazy, they used to be at that time, 16 years ago, they were $22 in Manhattan. I had an office.
they were never cheap.
No,
Yeah,
they weren't ever cheap.
Yeah.
I had an office near Grand Central in the Lincoln Building. There was an old Barclay Rex downstairs. No seats.
That's
You
where
walk-
That's where Dr. Joe was, right?
Yeah. Standing room only. I would go down, have my cigar after lunch, go back up.
Wow.
It's awesome. And they've gone up like $5 now a stick since. They're $27, right? Retail.
No,
In the- in the
retail
ci-
now
in the
is
city, they're high.
31.
it's
Yeah.
31
Oh,
and
man.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would bet they're even more at most of the New York shops.
In New York,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
probably
yeah,
are.
Yeah, how
like-
much are they, Pagoda?
I don't know. I haven't bought one from them.
Well, the tax is
It's
like
like-
90%.
The
Yeah.
price I'm giving
75%.
is Davidoff suggested
Yeah.
retail.
Ah,
I would
okay.
bet you're closer to 45.
Maybe 40,
Oh
45.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
in the city, I would think.
Yeah, because the late hour is around $36,
Yeah.
Wow.
which is around a $22 cigar.
So football's wrapping up here, boys.
Yeah, it is.
Super Bowl coming up.
Mhm.
The national championship was obviously a few weeks ago. We haven't talked about it yet, but the blowout that TCU experienced. I mean,
They were outclassed.
how do they get
Outclassed.
to that game and then not perform like that?
That was the worst college
It was
championship
horrible.
game ever.
It's just it's mind-boggling. Is it that Georgia is so powerful and skilled?
I mean, they weren't that dominant with
Were they
any other
nervous?
team
Were they
throughout the year.
uncomfortable?
That's part of it. I think Georgia is a very good team.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
a
Look,
monster.
To
team.
me, there's a stark and kind of unfortunate reality in college football at this point. The SEC is where it's at.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You look at. I mean,
says a Texan fan.
you just look at. I mean, what happens every year? You know, Bama just year after year after year, and everyone said, "Okay, this is getting a little bit ridiculous." You had LSU have their time to shine. You had Auburn. Now you've got Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't play in the SEC, your odds of being competitive at the end of a season are just not serious.
Yeah.
It's just not. You're not in a conference that plays defense. You're not able to go up against the same level of talent that you have to in the SEC. And, you know, it's fun to watch SEC football, but I get a little annoyed when it comes time for the national championship and it's not either two SEC teams finding themselves against each other or like a Clemson that has shown it can actually compete against an SEC team.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, this was a joke.
Yeah. You know, almost every SEC team is a premier football program. Almost all of them. You don't get that in other programs, in other conferences.
Almost all. Sorry, Pagoda.
Wow.
No, I think the problem was all these guys from TCU should have had non-alcoholic beer the night before.
I agree with that.
Wow, what a game. What was it, 65-7?
65-7.
Oh,
Jesus.
Unbelievable. You know, honestly, the way they played Michigan, they were dynamic. They played like an SEC team plays.
No, but see, this is the funny part.
That's what the eye test told me.
I thought at the time maybe that was the case, but this is what this proves, right? Them being able to take it to Michigan, people are sitting there saying, well, Michigan's a very good team. Wow, look at TCU. Guess what? Michigan's actually not that good.
Yeah.
Michigan played Georgia, they'd get destroyed.
Absolutely.
I can hear the Midwest turning their radios off. Right now. Fuck this podcast.
Truth hurts.
Well, I will tell you, Michigan has a great wrestling program. That's
good.
a fact.
Good for them.
Yeah.
They should stick to it.
Harbaugh may be going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Clearly, college is not for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jets.
I'm sorry, that's funny.
I don't know about that.
The other thing that was wild, again, we haven't talked about it. I know it was a little while ago, but the DeMar Hamlin thing that happened on the field and the miraculous recovery he had.
Yeah. He's in Buffalo now.
Where he walked out of the hospital. You know, I mean, that's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
I for a moment thought that I was watching like a Dale Earnhardt thing again and watched someone die on the field.
Yeah.
You know?
But how long was he actually without oxygen?
10 minutes, I think. 9 or 10 minutes. They were giving him CPR before his
seems
heart
like a
restarted.
long
That's a long time.
I thought it was shorter.
I mean, I was afraid that there will be like serious permanent brain damage.
Yeah.
I think
they were too.
I think just being that he's so young and so athletic that his recovery, was.
But I think the training staff, the immediacy that the CPR started was what was crucial for
Well,
him.
they restart his heart.
Yeah.
They saved his
Twice.
life. They saved his life.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Amazing.
I just love, of course, I love shitting on Roger Goodell, but
Don't we all?
I love the whole thing that, Joe Buck said that each team had 5 minutes to warm up to restart the game. The coaches obviously called that off. But then the NFL did this whole posturing thing,
Yep.
press releases, like 12:45 the same night, next morning, putting out press releases that the NFL never said that, and never would have, and Goodell never issued that. It's like a mafia. This is, I feel like it's like Tony Soprano is running a massive sports league.
Exactly.
I just love the whole thing. Like, there's all this debate about what Goodell did or didn't say or did or didn't feel or want to do. The guy said absolutely nothing. Roger Goodell doesn't have a means to put out his own statement. He can't tweet something. He can't say something. I mean, it's like so comical to me. It's like, well, the NFL's in crisis mode and they're trying to figure this out. And they put out, obviously, this silly little statement. Like, Roger Goodell could fucking decree himself. He doesn't need the league to do it.
That's exactly right.
This game
It's
will
over.
not be played tonight. It's
Right.
done. We are only concerned about this man's health. That's all he had to say.
Exactly.
He works for the owners.
Yeah. He's the bad cop.
It's all about the cash, Goodell. Okay,
Yeah.
all about the cash.
You're right.
Because his job is to make the owners as much money as possible.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they-
And he's done a very good job at
And
it.
they pay him.
Such a good job that he's negotiated arguably the greatest contract in history.
It's crazy.
The man's going to get lifetime health care, lifetime use of a private jet. This is all even after he's done being commissioner of the league. I mean, some of the it's absurd.
Wow.
Well, when you're making 40 or 50 million bucks a year, I don't think that's,
Yeah.
He's got the contract like Bobby Bonilla of the Mets.
he still gets
I know
paid.
that.
He still gets paid.
Million
That
bucks a year.
fucker is
Hasn't
still on
played in
payroll.
20 years. He still gets a paycheck.
What other team is doing that? You
can
tell
thank,
me.
you can thank Bernie Madoff for that one.
It's unbelievable. Bernie.
Oh, man.
I loved him,
Yeah.
but not this long.
I know.
And then I'm sorry, in the midst of that whole thing, look, this whole cancel culture thing, it's gotten a little out of hand, very out of hand. But if there's a guy that deserves it, Skip Bayless,
Oh, he's a piece of shit.
this clown in the middle of this tweets, and I'm going to pull this up. I mean, just astounding how he's not even apologized. To this day, he has literally said, I do not apologize for what I said.
Right.
His tweet, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? Question mark. This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. I mean, what a fucking moron.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone at this point in the night is saying there is no good reason to continue this game. All that should be the focus is hoping that this man is going to live through what just happened.
Right.
And he goes and posts that. I love Michael Strahan. I mean, countless people players were lighting him up.
What does
right when he
Strahan
said
say?
this.
Because I didn't hear it.
Strahan, who works for the same network as he does the Fox analysis
yeah.
with Terry Bradshaw and all those guys, on the Fox broadcast said one person from our network even said something so stupid and just completely eviscerated him on a live broadcast. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
But
Shannon-
that guy should be fired.
Yeah, I agree.
Shannon Sharp skipped the broadcast the next morning. The day after, went into a monologue about it, trying to just diffuse the situation. Skip interrupted him. It was a total
All
shit
hell
show.
broke
Yeah.
loose.
Yeah.
That's Skip's job to create controversy.
I'll tell you though, Fox Sports loves him because the next morning, everybody was tuned into that show to see what was going to happen.
It's just pathetic. Like, that man's built a career trying to just say a bunch of inflammatory, controversial things to essentially build his entire career off of a bunch of bullshit. It's not that this man provides any unique and compelling sports insight. He just says inflammatory things.
Yeah.
But there's always a line that you don't cross. And this was very clearly that line.
Absolutely.
And that's where any ounce of respect I could have had for him is just completely lost.
There are moments in sports where sports stops, and that was one. And you're watching the game. It's still not canceled, and it's infuriating as a fan.
Right.
To look at that product. They're not canceling that game. Players are crying.
There's an ambulance
field.
on the field. There's
I've
an
never-
ambulance
I've
on
never
the field.
Never seen. Yeah, ambulance has never been on the
But
football field.
I'm sorry.
Never seen
I'm
that.
sorry. You have never seen NFL football players cry openly on a field the way they did.
Yeah.
How do you not cancel the fucking game on the spot? It's insane.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
What happens to his career? I mean,
I heard the Bills have guaranteed his contract in full.
Now,
That's great.
So whether he plays or not again, his full contract will be paid. I don't think it's
I
that
don't
much
think
money.
he had
It's not that much
big of
money.
Probably a
contract.
couple $1,000,000, but they're not going to, after the end of the season, just
But the
kinda
good
punt
thing is,
him.
like, they've done what they can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Yeah,
as
that's
far as
true.
the Bills are concerned, the only thing they can do, they have offered him a contract that's non-guaranteed. They can guarantee it. Where he really gets fucked is the NFL policy, of course, with getting a pension.
right.
Yeah.
Only kicks in after it's either 4 or 5 years playing.
Yep.
5 years
5
playing.
years.
So he's not eligible for that yet. Now, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that this is one of the few sports where literally your life is on the line to play this sport. Every single time you take that field. That's not the case in basketball. It's not the case in baseball. It's not the case in golf, tennis, almost any sport.
Right.
Just because of that, these guys should be eligible for a pension the
Of
minute
course,
that they
the
step
moment
foot
that
on that field.
and this goes back to all the conversations about non-guaranteed contracts and baseball players and basketball players. They're all getting guaranteed contracts the moment they sign their contract. And football happens to be one of the richest sports in the country. Why not guarantee these players
Well,
contracts?
I think the high level players across all sports are getting guaranteed
Only
contracts.
recently in football.
Yeah, well,
only
Deshaun
recently.
Watson got a fully guaranteed
Well,
contract.
it started
you know.
with Mahomes when he signed his contract, and
Yeah.
every other big name guy would get more of a guaranteed percentage of their contract. But the majority of the fucking NFL players, they're not guaranteed. They get hurt, they're done.
Yeah.
Like this poor kid.
Yeah,
And
but
sadly-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and sadly, this starts in college.
Mm.
That's the worst part. I mean, you look at, they've done the whole expose on the NCAA. I mean, it's just insane. These kids get recruited to play for these schools. They make decisions, obviously solely in many cases, based on just the athletic program. Forget what kind of education they're going to get. Because some of these schools could care less. Some of them actually are committed to making sure these kids get an education so they have a career after their sport. These scholarships that they get are not guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know how many college athletes have stories where they got recruited to go play somewhere, they got hurt, they got cut from the team, lost their scholarship, they can't afford to pay for that school, and they're fucked. That's it. They go to community college,
Yeah,
they've
it's
got
over.
nothing else to really fall back on.
I had no idea.
It's completely fucked up. So this starts so early, this like cycle of treating these kids like they're absolute shit. It's a crime.
Yeah, I agree. It's a crime. It's a great way of putting it.
And if the schools weren't making any money about it, I wouldn't feel the same way. But it's like they recruit these kids so they make a ton, millions and millions of dollars off their back. And the minute they get hurt, they say, not okay, you're going to keep your scholarship. You can at least continue to get your education here. They say, I'm sorry, you're no longer useful to us. You're off the team. You've lost your scholarship. Good luck.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
It's horrible.
In one of the most brutal sports you can play.
True.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like every player goes through a physical, I assume, right, before they get signed into the NFL. Did Damar Hamlin also have a physical?
Of
Like,
course,
I'm
had
sure
to.
he did.
Yeah.
So, what he went through with the cardiac arrest?
I don't think he
Is
had
that
a
a-
pre-existing
He had no
condition.
pre-existing-
There
heart
was no pre-existing
I
condition.
think that was triggered by the timing.
Yeah.
It was a 1 in a million type of the timing that helmet hit his chest was at a millisecond. I forget what it's called. There's a term for it that threw the electrical rhythm of his heart off and unnecessarily threw him into cardiac arrest.
Mhm.
Essentially,
So
as
it could
opposed to
happen-
knocking the
so
wind
it could
out.
happen to
It
anybody.
can happen
Yep.
to anybody.
on
It needs
on
to
the
hit
field.
Yeah.
at the perfect
Certain
millisecond,
angle or
a
Hasn't
certain
it-
time.
Hasn't it happened in baseball?
I think soccer
I-
is when it last
maybe.
happened, but I'm not
Right.
sure.
So, is there a chance that he could play?
I very much think so, but we'll see.
Wow.
We'll see.
Because that would be amazing to see him back on the field.
I mean, he woke up
Right.
and his first question was, "Who won the game?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
I
I
don't
wonder
know.
whether he had an afterlife experience or something.
we're gonna
Senator,
find out.
you have a son now. I have a son. Now, you'll be much older.
Pagoda
when-
has two.
Yeah. So when your son's in his 20s and let's say he becomes a professional athlete and something like this happens, you're going to have minimal influence because he's an adult, but you're not going to be happy about him getting back on the field, are you?
No.
Neither am I.
But your son
It's-
plays golf,
Yeah, he does.
so
But
which is a sport you can play.
no, that's
You
true.
know, a
But the
very
question,
long time.
but the question back to this young guy, Hamlin, will he play again? You're going to ask, what's his mother want?
yeah,
How's she going to
Yeah,
feel
I
about it?
know.
It's terrifying.
I know, it
As a
is.
parent, it's
You-
terrifying.
you-
That's a big decision for
you
the
know,
whole
it-
family.
The whole family.
He may just be fine because he doesn't have any underlying condition. Number one, Ericsson,
Yeah, the soccer player, right?
the soccer player who used to play for Tottenham Hotspurs, now he plays for Manchester United. He had a cardiac arrest on the field
Mm.
when he was playing for his country, and he was out of the game for about a year, and now he's back on. And let me tell you, he's so skillful. He's
Mm.
doing really well.
Wow.
It's pretty
So-
amazing,
so
man.
Maybe he'll be back.
Yeah,
Who
maybe.
knows?
I always go back to that video. Who sent that video? I think it was you, talking about Hamlin's contract and how meager it is and his very slight bonus and what's his upside, what's the trajectory financially. It doesn't look that good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a young guy. He really has been proving himself. I think this season or last. I mean, I don't think there's
It's just awful.
I don't think there's much there.
Mm.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, boys, we're coming to the end here of the La Aroma de Cuba, Mi Amor. I have really enjoyed this cigar.
I got an inch left here, and it's really good.
Yeah, I am. I'm again very pleasantly surprised by how a new world at this price point has performed. And I think we have a reputation. I think even sometimes I think that we have a bias to Cuban cigars. Certainly the data shows that that's not the case. But I mean, we have really been hitting a lot of home runs
In the New World.
on New
Yeah.
World cigars,
Yeah.
arguably more than some of the Cubans.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've had some
It's true.
real stinkers on Cubans. We have.
Yeah.
We have.
The La Punta.
Well, no, I mean, even more recently, the Punch Duke, I think, was in the 6s. I think
That was crappy.
Yeah.
you know, there's, it's, I don't know, man. I think Habanos is in trouble more than ever. I think they're in trouble, especially
What?
with these price increases.
No, I
Well,
think,
well,
and
No,
they should
they're
keep,
pushing a lot of smokers out. Listen, Rooster brings in that My Father Lancero. He's telling us it smokes like a Fundy. We think he's crazy.
And he's right.
We all
Yeah,
rate it
yeah.
9, except Puba gave it a 6. Grinder gave it a 7.
Mhm.
It rated well amongst most of the group. I bought a box. I've been loving them. I'm not even thinking about Fundadors
Yeah. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
$7. It's a $7 or $8 stick.
For a fraction of the price.
Truly a
Quite
fraction.
literally a
Because a
fraction.
box of those fundies are over $2,000, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
are.
It's
It's
crazy.
crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, a box of Coloniales. We
750.
were looking at it today. It's like $750
Yeah.
or $800.
Ridiculous.
I happen to
35
love.
bucks a
I
stick.
happen to love that cigar, but I can't
For
stomach-
$35?
I can't stomach buying it at that
Not
price.
even
It's
close.
crazy.
Do you have any?
Yeah, I do. I've got 3/4 of a box.
Hello.
Jackpot.
I will share.
We should do it on the pod next time.
We did do it on a pod. We smoked that cigar.
We
I think
did.
we
I
did.
think we
yeah.
did.
Yeah, I distinctly remember Puba liking it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
I remember that.
was meaningful.
All right, boys. Are you guys ready to do the formal liquor rating on the Oban Distillers Edition 2021?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Bam Bam, you're up.
I'm giving it a 7.
7. Okay. Pagoda?
Yeah, this is interesting. I've been debating between a 7 and an 8. I think I'll give it an 8 because I think after I put a chip of ice in it just kind of grew, and I really, I've enjoyed it.
Okay. I'm also going to give it an 8. I think if this was, I think the Oban 14, I would give a 9. I think this is just right behind it at an 8. So I'm very comfortable
It's
with
very
that.
flavorful.
Mm.
Very flavorful.
Yeah. Senator.
I've been back and forth between a 7 and an 8. I kind of like when Bam started off with a 7 because it felt like it gave me a little bit of license to be critical here. I think what I'm having a hard time with, why I'm struggling to find it in me to give this an 8, particularly when we rate spirits. Any spirit I've given an 8 or higher, I would buy.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't hesitate. I'll go out to the store. I mean, even Abalor, something at like a $40 price point is so reasonable. I have countless bottles of that at home.
That stuff is delicious.
And that to me, I probably gave like an 8.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy this.
Mm.
And that's where I'm going to round down.
Is it
for
because of
sure.
the price or because of just the spirit?
It's the spirit.
I see.
It's not even the price.
Hmm.
I don't like the finish very much on this.
Yeah.
When Bam talks about the bite, like I start on the front of my palate getting some good flavor that I like, but the finish for me, when you have Oban 14, that finish, it's just like the lingering of all those like amazing flavor notes you get. For me, the finish, it's just like a little rough. I don't get much flavor. I just get alcohol.
Mm.
And that's not something I would pursue. Even if this were honestly half the price point, it's just not something that I would probably pick up very much. Now, is it so offensive that I wouldn't drink it again if someone poured it to me? No, that's where I'm at a 7. There are things I do like about it, but I just wouldn't pursue it. So I'm at a 7.
Okay. The formal liquor rating on this, boys, is a 7.5.
I think that's fair.
That's very
Very fair.
Yeah, that's a recommend, right?
Yeah. It's a recommend. I mean,
Anything over 7's a recommend.
So
right?
for me, piggybacking on what the Senator just said, at an 8, if the price was not where it's at, right? I've really enjoyed this. I like the way it goes through my nose when it's sitting in my mouth. I like how that feels. I like how
Yeah.
it tastes.
Mhm.
I'm very, very happy with the spirit. This is right kind of where I like a spirit, just not at $180.
Is this
$80.
Does this have a higher?
No, it's not 108. It's 100.
110,
120, 150, whatever it is.
115 bucks.
115.
Yeah, a 115. So if it was 80, I probably would pick up a bottle.
It feels to me like this has a bit of a higher alcohol content than the Oban 14. Maybe I'm wrong.
It tastes like it. Can
That's
we
what it
see
ta-
what's
Here,
the percentage?
I
Here,
can't
pass
read
that
this. I'm
down.
too old.
What I found was the two things I do want to say. When I drank it very quickly, and when the liquor went to the back of my mouth, it did feel pretty harsh. I think
Yeah.
once I got the ice and I was just letting it linger in my mouth a little bit
Was
more.
it harsh or hot? Like,
It's hot.
to me, it's not harsh. It's
No,
just got that.
the bite.
It's got
is
like
what-
a
yeah,
little bit
yeah.
of a burn,
Even
but I'm
with-
enjoying it.
But even with the ice, there was bite.
Yeah.
Which
I'm
for
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
no, for me, I
Sorry.
would just, when I let it linger in my mouth a little bit, the flavor profile was fantastic. I think I really enjoyed the flavors, and smoking the cigar, I think it just paired really well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
but
it paired perfectly with the cigar. I think the cigar actually helped the spirit tonight, and vice versa.
Yeah.
It was a really, really nice pairing for me. And I think too that I drank it first with ice, and then I drank my second pour, which is just a finger, which was neat. I'm actually enjoying it neat. Right now
it is
I'm
light
just
bodied.
enjoying it.
I'm
No, it is
surprised.
light-bodied,
I'm
yeah.
surprised, actually.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really,
it's odd.
I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying it.
Yeah. Great.
So, Bam, your question about the alcohol content, to my surprise, it's identical to Oban 14. They're
45?
both 43%.
43.
Unbelievable. Wow.
All right. So I've put my cigar down. I'm done with it.
Yeah, I'm about done.
I really enjoyed it front to back for $7. I think this is a home run. I'm really, really happy with it. What do you guys think before we rate it?
Very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really liked it. Only thing I have to say is like the flavor notes that I was getting on the first third they're not quite there on the last, maybe the third of the cigar. So I enjoyed the beginning much more than towards the end.
That's a good point.
But for the price point, the construction of the cigar, I
The
mean,
smoke
all of that
output.
stuff.
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, it's definitely, worth trying the cigar.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For that price, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay. Senator.
For me, I'm definitely going to give it an 8. I think the flavor profile is definitely in my wheelhouse. I think for a lot of us in this room, I think the flavor notes we've been picking out are flavors we traditionally seek. I think the price point is tremendous,
Slam dunk.
and the construction. Usually for me, either a cigar at this crazy of a price point, either the flavor is really good and the construction may not be so great, but the flavor compensates for it, or the construction is beautiful and the flavor is not so great. The fact that I'm satisfied on both fronts, that's where for me it's a very strong 8.
Sure.
Awesome. I'm also at an 8. Really enjoyed the cigar. Really enjoyed the experience tonight. I'll definitely probably get another $5 just to have them. I think the one thing that, as far as picking up more of these, that I'm going to hold back on is I just have a lot of cigars that slot in this exact place in a potential rotation or a
Yeah.
reach. I'm not going to stand at my humidor and choose this over an Exclusivo or over an El Senador
No, you won't.
or over an Ashton VSG.
Mhm.
Or even the My Father Lancero if I have the time to smoke that. So I just don't see this slotting a lot. But if I had 5 in my humidor, I think that'll last me
Yeah.
quite a
Like
while.
I wouldn't go and buy a whole box of these.
Yeah,
I would get a 5-pack. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
get a
I mean,
5.
get a 5-pack. Yeah, I'd be happy
for
with
$30
that.
bucks. I mean,
So-
we're talking
100%.
$35.
There's
but-
a lot of other New World cigars that are in that same price range
Yeah.
that I think satisfy me personally, more
Yeah,
than this cigar.
I know I'm
So,
going last, but rating it for what it is tonight, I think has merit.
and that's what I did.
Yeah.
Right,
I don't
you know.
think slotting it, comparing to other cigars, I don't know.
Let me just say that my 8 was
Rating it for what it is, I
what
think
had nothing to do.
is what really
It
matters. here.
disregards
No,
my comment.
the reason what I meant to say was if I give a cigar an 8, that would mean that I would buy a box of those.
Mm,
It's like I wouldn't buy a
Mm.
box of these.
I see.
That's what I mean.
Pagoda.
Yeah, just like the drink, it's I think I'm between a 7 and an 8, somewhere around there. But considering the experience I've had, I found it a bit muted towards the end. I kind of agree with Rooster there. But I'll go ahead and give it an 8 today.
Okay. Bam, bam.
Yeah, it's an 8 for me. And that doesn't mean I'll go buy a box. Probably not. But for tonight, it's a fabulous cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think of like, BAM has hosted, a cigar charity event and stuff.
Oh, this
and
is perfect.
Oh,
for this.
dude,
like
this is a great candidate
that's
for
what
that.
I'm saying.
Absolutely,
It's like I obviously
It's a great idea.
I went to the last one you hosted. If you do this, again, and you had these there, I'm not going to be upset to smoke one of these.
You're going to
I'm
walk
gonna
and
be
go, oh, I like this
Yes.
cigar.
Yeah, I'm going to be
Yes,
perfectly
yes.
satisfied.
exactly
Yeah.
right. Yep.
That's a great point too. For the guest humidor, you have folks coming over, maybe folks that have a little bit of cigar experience,
Yeah.
even a lot. It's one of those cigars that I think is going to cover the bases.
Totally.
And if someone puts it down halfway through, your head's not going to explode
Because of the
because it was
price.
$7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I mean, it was $7.
It's this respectable cigar.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, but-
I think this is also good for golfing. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
it's got a
sure.
great,
That's
a good point.
great smoke output,
Absolutely.
very
point.
easy smoke. Good construction.
Yeah.
I think overall it's a pretty good cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you compare it, like, let's say the My Father Lancero number 4, about the same price.
Yeah.
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 The thing
I
about
think
that.
delivers
They
a little
just-
bit more flavor than.
It's also a different experience. and
It is.
I
It's
just
a
want to
totally
be very
different
clear.
cigar,
Yeah,
but
I would not
yeah.
compare this to
Yeah, I
that
wouldn't.
cigar.
No.
That to me is
only
like
price point wise.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Just as price point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Right.
all right, boys, the formal lizard rating on the La Aroma de Cuba Mi Amor Robusto is a 7.8, which I think is a perfect
Fair
score.
score.
Fair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that's a modest recommend.
Yeah. Pretty good.
But like
recommend.
we said, I think you grab a $5 or a $10 if this is kind of in your wheelhouse or your really your price range. If you're targeting price range for a Robusto that has a little bit of medium full oomph to it, great flavor, I think this is a perfect choice. And we've listed a few different scenarios in which it would work really, really well. But I think when I have 5 in my humidor, I think that's gonna be very satisfying for me.
And I'd also say if you get a 5 of these, let a couple of them just sit, tuck
Mhm.
them back in the humidor. Because I'm telling you, what these used to be, and certainly when I've inadvertently aged them, the flavor gets more concentrated, kind of like we love and expect from a Padron.
Yeah.
Not that it's the same,
Yeah.
but just that there's more intensity to that flavor.
Yeah, there's definitely merit to a lot of these New World cigars
Oh yeah.
that you can kind of taste a little bit of like the edginess, or so you let them sit for a while, a couple of years, and I think it's it's gonna be a great.
That's great
stick.
advice. Great
Yeah.
advice.
And what's great too is it's not a lot of money sitting around in that humidor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talking a few bucks.
Very reasonable.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. All right, boys. So a 7.5 for the Oban Distillers Edition and a 7.8 for the La Aroma de Cuba Mi Amor. What a fantastic night.
Great night.
Excellent night. Great pairing. Pagoda, thank you for bringing the scotch.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, loungelizardspod, P-O-D, that's loungelizardspod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.